Well, good morning and welcome to Art at Noon, the first St. John's Cathedral's presentation. And glad to have you here with us. This morning is a preview of our art walk, really. That's going to happen next Tuesday, right, Catherine?
Yes, next Tuesday.
It's Tuesday. So Catherine, give them an overview of that.
Yeah. We're
Just
going to be meeting at the Cummer at 11. And there are two options. You can either just attend with us as a group for our tour. It's $15 plus your ticket to the Cummer. If you want to stay for lunch, we're going to have lunch from the Cummer Cafe. And that cost is $40. So two options to attend.
and
And excuse me, you need to please RSVP by this Friday. That means tomorrow at noon, so that we have a good head count for the lunch, especially.
And also the admission to the Cummer is not included because we have
Correct.
lots of people that are already members and we didn't know, so we didn't include that. So that in that particular thing. Well, good morning and welcome to Andrew Wyeth, The Eye of the Earth. This is a preview of this exhibit. And let's get started. This morning's devotion from Dean Kate gives us a perfect doorway into Andrew Wyeth's world. She began with Jacob von Rosendaal's, and I know I've mispronounced that, The Jewish Cemetery, a stormed, tossed landscape where tombs crumble and trees bend beneath dark clouds, yet beams of light break through the ruin. It's a vision of faith enduring in the middle of decay, of light finding its way across stone and water. The same tension between fragility and renewal, darkness and light, is what animates Wyeth's art. His landscapes, especially those at Kuerner's farm, hold both the starkness of winter and the promise of spring. Through his watercolors, he captures fleeting light and movement. Through his temperas, he reveals stillness and endurance. Like Rosedale's beams of light, Rice brush illuminates the quiet resilience of ordinary lives and familiar fields. So, as we turn now to Andrew Wyeth on Kuerner's farm, The Eye of the Earth, we carry forward that same truth from the devotion today, that even among the bare trees, the weathered walls, and the snow-covered hills, there remains a living light, steady and enduring, waiting for all of us to see it. As we look at our first image in just a few minutes, April Wind, we can begin to sense how Wyeth found the sacred within the ordinary. Not that he was sacred, I'm not saying that. And I think he had a different feeling uh, about religion. But um, just as Ruysdael's light broke through storm clouds, Wyeth's light filters through branches and coats, snow, quiet and deliberate searching. In April Wind, which we're going to look at in a minute, the figure turns his back to us, walking into the landscape, almost becoming a part of it. The boundaries between person and place blur, reminding us that for Wyeth, painting was never just about what he saw. It was about what he felt. And that's the journey, my friends, that we're going to take today, from surface to spirit, from field and farmhouse to memory and meaning. As we explore Weiss Kuerner farm paintings, notice how he uses both watercolor and tempera to express that movement between light and shadow, fragility and endurance. And in every panel and page, we will see as we begin this journey together that he expresses this movement, this between light and shadow. And in every panel and page, you'll find what Dean Kate spoke about this morning: light, lingering among the ruins. So let's move on.
Oh, look at that, Jack.
Okay, I would ask that all of you, if you haven't, if you will mute your microphones, that would be wonderful. This is looking, this is April Wind, and we're going to start with this, and this is not in the exhibit. But I want to begin talking. This is probably my favorite painting of all of his, that next to his dog on the bed. And I wanted to start with it. Yeah, it's my favorite, but I think it's just a good segue into Andrew Wyeth. In our present age, when something as simple as a walk outdoors has become a rediscovered ritual of renewal, the art of Andrew Wyeth speaks with quiet, enduring resonance. For Wyeth, walking was never mere movement. It was a form of contemplation. Each morning, he set out alone across the fields of Chadds Ford, Pennsylvania, or the coastal reaches of Cushing, Maine. And these landscapes became both his studio and his sanctuary, yielding a body of work that renders the ordinary luminous and the familiar mysterious. A perfect example of this is April Wind. Wyeth's friend, James Loper, sits on a log, his back to us, coat billowing in an unseen gust. Behind him, a great sycamore stretches across the sky, its limbs both living and skeletal, suspended between vitality and decay. Wyeth's palette of ochres and gray blues, his flattened horizon, and his patient layering in egg tempera creates a quiet tension where, as you look at this picture, stillness just seems to breathe. In both technique and spirit, Wyeth turns observation into devotion. Every frayed thread and shifting shadow becomes an act of reverence for the fleeting beauty of just the ordinary life. April Wind reminds us, as Wyeth himself believed, that the poetry of the world is not elsewhere. It's right here in the weathered field, the edge of light, and the quiet recognition of being alive in that moment, and that moment will never come again. Today, we're going to talk about Andrew Wyeth, the artist, and preview the Cummer Museum's upcoming exhibit, Andrew Wyeth at Kuerner Farm, The Eye of the Earth. But before we explore those paintings, and we're not going to explore all 40 of the paintings, just certain ones of them, because I just want to give you a little, test. I want a little bite so that you'll go see the exhibit, okay? Um, before we explore these artworks, Andy Friedman, who visited the same Chadds Ford landscape that inspired Wyeth for more than half a century, we're going to get his perspective. Andy Friedman is an artist, he's an illustrator, he's a musician for the New Yorker. And so, in honor of Wyeth's centennial, Friedman retraced his footsteps through the fields, barns, and hills of the Kuerner farm, sketchbook in hand. Deeply, deeply admiring Wyeth, he sought to see as Wyeth saw, quietly, patiently, and with deep attention to the poetry of ordinary things. Friedman's journey mirrors Wyeth's own method of seeing, slow, deliberate, and attuned to mood and memory. Each sketch, a sagging roofline, a leaning fence post, winter light, glancing off clapboard, captures not just a place, but a presence. Like Wyeth's work, these images hover between realism and review, where the familiar feels charged with mystery emotion. Through Friedman's eyes, we rediscover the quiet magic of Wyeth's world, the way the landscape becomes character and stillness becomes story. His drawings prepare us to approach the exhibition not just as viewers, but as fellow observers and ready to sense the living spirit of the Kuerner farm that continues to inspire artists today. And I'm going to share what Friedman said, his words as we take his journey through through the Kuerner farm. He said, "When I visited the Kuerner's farm in early May, everything was colored with a disoriented palette of lush greens, warm browns, and vivid blues. Typically, Wyeth's Pennsylvania pictures are painted with, Tyson's shades of melancholy ochres. Kuerner's farm had fascinated Wyeth ever since he was a teenager. It just excited me," he added, "purely abstractly and purely emotionally. After his father's sudden death, the plot of land, its buildings, inhabitants, and all of its details had to become characters in Wyeth's remorseful play. As I approached the driveway," Friedman said, "to the farm from Ring Road, the stone pillars, the stone pillars at the entrance became the parted stage curtains or a pair of brooding gargoyles standing guard." He said, as he walked up the driveway to the Kuerner's house, the light seemed to shift back to autumn. Buried in the underbrush along the way lay the remains of Wyeth's models, drawings from the past. The house itself resembled a withered skull at rest in a strong patch of sun. Inside the Kuerner house, which Wyeth described as filled with strange feelings, the season is forever winter. Well, I said, I've heard young artists say, of course, Mr. Wyeth, I can go out and take a photograph in a blizzard of a tree with snow hitting it. And I don't know why you waste months making dozens of drawings because I can take you back in a couple of seconds with this splendid photograph that I work in from the studio. This is Wyeth talking to his friend Hoving. And Wyeth's response to that was, he said, Wyeth said, "Well, you're forgetting one thing, and that's the spirit of the object, which, if you sit long enough, will finally creep in through the back door and grab you." Does that hook grab you? Sometimes the spirit reached Wyeth in a flash. He drew Anna Kuerner, who worked incessantly to maintain the home and the farm and rarely stood still, ascending the staircase countless times from memory with fluid strokes of a pencil, which we will see, by the way, in the exhibit. A menacing tear rips the floral pattern wallpaper, suggesting a bolt of lightning from the pink carnations. And that bolt of lightning perhaps was Carl. Just a suggestion, an observation. You have to peer, and Andrew Wyeth said, you have to peer beneath the surface. He explained this to historian Wanda Korn in 1962. The commonplace is the thing, but it's hard to find. Then if you believe in it, have a love for it, the specific thing will become universal. Now, I want y'all to think about that. I'm going to read it one more time. And if you reflect on anything, reflect on this one as we move through this journey together. What he said, because as you look at these up close and personal, he said, the commonplace is the thing, but it's hard to find. Then if you believe in it, have a love for it, whether it's a hook or a rock, this specific thing becomes universal to all of us. At the top of the staircase, a coat hook with a rounded tip plays the part of Anna. Despondent that he never painted his father, whom he loved as much as he feared, Wyeth had Carl, the gentle, sometimes savage master of the house, pose as a substitute beneath the meat hook driven in the ceiling of the small room on the third floor. The result was Carl, which we're going to look at in a minute, a temper portrait in 1948. Talk about abstract power, Wyeth told Hoving. I think it's the best portrait I've ever done. In Groundhog Day, a tempera, Wyeth painted a sunny afternoon table in front of a kitchen window, set with a clean plate, an empty cup and a saucer, and a knife, which was the only utensil that Carl used to consume meals. A patch of sunlight in the shape of a squashed diamond glides across the now famous wallpaper, portions of which that have been immaculately restored by the museum. Wyeth felt that the unassuming scene portrayed the mystery, brutality, and tenderness of Carl's contradictory character more accurately than if his subject had been present in the picture. As well as what he said with the window that was in the picture as well. He says, I wanted to get down to the very essence of the man who wasn't there. Friedman said, roaming the fields of Kuerner around Kuerner's farm, he looked for any hidden details that Wyeth might have missed. Over the course of 70 years, I realized that it was entirely possible for Wyeth to have painted or at least considered each and every one of the things that he was looking at. As Kuerner said about him, Carl Kuerner said, Andy spends a lot of time over here painting. We don't pay him any mind. We leave him alone. That's what he needs. Some details, such as power lines that invaded the countryside in the late 60s, like spaceships from another galaxy, Wyeth just ignored completely in his drawings. Why wouldn't he? Asked Carl Kuerner's grandson, also named Carl, who lives on top of Kuerner's Hill that overlooks the farm. He said, Friedman said, I spoke with Carl briefly on the front porch of the Kuerner house shortly before he was to instruct a few students with art lessons, which he does regularly as a program offered through the museum. And Carl had been drawing on the farm since he was a child, and he knew Wyeth extremely well. He said, I asked Andy once if he minded that I also painted and drew my property. You know, the place has always felt more like it was his than mine. Andy said, sure, go ahead. There's enough here for you to find it in your own voice. And when he said that, Carl looked up for a moment and a barn swallow darted through the clean spring late afternoon hour. And he continued, he said, but sometime later, Andy admitted that if it wasn't a Kuerner, he would have told me to get lost, that it all belonged to him. Okay, now let's look more closely at the Kuerner farm, the land, the house, and the people who lived there, at the neighbors and friends from the surrounding countryside who became models for Wyeth's paintings. The farm itself sits on a gentle rise overlooking Chadds Ford, Pennsylvania, and belonged to Carl and Anna Kuerner, German immigrants who settled there after World War I. Over the years, their rugged self-sufficiency and quiet dignity fascinated Wyeth. He first began visiting the farm as a boy, drawn to its weathered barn, stone walls, and fields that changed character with every season. Eventually, it just became his most endearing subject, appearing in more than 1,000, hear me, 1,000 of his drawings and paintings. The Kuerners' lives and routines, Carl's work in the fields, Anna's ardor and calm inside the farmhouse, became just inseparable from the land itself. Wyeth saw them not merely as models, but as reflections of the place, strong, steadfast, shaped by the rhythm of the land. Though Andy's sketches, his little sketches that we just looked at, we begin to see how Wyeth viewed this world, not simply just as a collection of people and places, but as a living presence that breathed all of these things: memory, mystery, and meaning. Uh, Karl Kuerner, the man behind the farm. He was a German immigrant, a World War I veteran who settled in uh, Chadds Ford with his wife and Anna in the early 1920s. He was born in Bavaria. He served in the German army as a young man before immigrating to the United States after the war. He bought this modest dairy farm that would later become one of the most frequently depicted locations in Andrew's art. Wyeth first encountered the Kuerner farm as a boy. His father, the illustrator N.C. Wyeth, and if you looked at our last Art at Noon, you learned a little bit about Andrew Wyeth from our previous Art at Noon experience about illustrators. His father encouraged him to explore the area around the house. Carl and Anna lived simply and worked hard. Carl was practical, blunt, self-reliant, perhaps a little mean, very mean at times, a man of few words, but strong character. Wyeth described him as having a certain stoic poetry about him, shaped by the land, by war, and by the unspoken rhythm of labor. And as I'm talking about this, I really want you to look at this picture. You're going to be able to get up close and personal with it, and see if you feel the same things about it that I did. His days were defined by tending animals, mending fences, keeping the farm running through every season. But Wyeth was drawn to Carl not for his personality alone, but perhaps for what he represented: endurance, solitude, and a rootedness of life on the land. Over decades, Carl and Anna's world became a mirror for Wyeth's own sense of identity and his sense of mortality as well. As Wyeth once said, everything I have ever painted has come out of this farm. It is the eye of the earth. This particular painting is an egg tempera, and it's probably one of Wyeth's most powerful early portraits. It's a absolute testimony to it's kind of an introspective portrait. He captures Kuerner not as a farmer in this field, but as a man enclosed, and look what he's done. He's enclosed this with this austere geometry of his home. Standing beneath a cracked ceiling, Carl gazes outward with a quiet defiance. Above his head, you'll notice up here, can you see this pointer? Okay, good. Above his head, there is a large iron hook, and it juts from the ceiling. Its shadow. Now, and I want you to notice the shadow. Look here. This is a shadow stretching like a question mark across the plaster. The crack running through the ceiling seems to merge with Carl's own presence, an unspoken link between the man, the structure, endurance, perhaps, and decay. Wyeth painted this in egg tempera, and this is an old medium that the masters used. He favored it because it's for its precision and for its subtle texture. It was a quick drying pigment, and it allowed him to build layers of tone so fine that every surface of the rough plaster, the worn jacket, now I'm talking about the surface, the worn seems tangible. His palette is subdued, ochres, umbers, grays, echoing the muted earth tones of the Pennsylvania winter. The composition it's a simple, and when you look at it, it's a simple composition, but it's psychologically charged. The hook above Carl's head introduces a sense of tension, a reminder that of labor, mortality, and perhaps memory. Some viewers see it as an emblem of fate, of the burden of survival. Others see it as a symbol of Carl's unflinching resilience. The cracked ceiling feels like it's both a literal detail and a metaphor for the passage of time, the fractures of history, pressing down perhaps on an unbreakable man. And what emerges is not a sentimental portrait, but one of monumental realism. Carl's face is weathered but resolute, his posture upright, proud. The space around him breathes with quiet weight, suggested both confinement and belonging. Wyeth does something just magical realism, as Wyeth's technique has been called at times. Wyeth fuses the man and the environment so completely that it becomes difficult to tell where one ends and the other begins. It's a hallmark of his art at its most profound. In Carl, Wyeth transforms the everyday into the eternal. The painting simply becomes a meditation on strength, solitude, and enduring connection between human life and the land that shapes it. This is old Bill Looper. In his early painting, a 16-year-old Andrew Wyeth portrays his elderly neighbor, William Old Bill Looper, as a woodcutter, a farm hand who lived in the Wyeth family in Chadds Ford, next to it, Pennsylvania. Loper was one of the first local figures to capture Wyeth's attention, an unassuming man whose presence seemed carved from the same landscape he worked. Wyeth observed him daily as he chopped wood or walked the backfields with his dog, and here the young artist transforms that simple routine into something that's just quietly monumental. Wyeth paints old Bill standing in a sun-washed field, an axe resting in his hand beside a newly cut stump. The composition leads the eye from the shadowed foreground, where the man's figure is half silhouetted, into the glowing open pasture beyond, a farmhouse and outbuildings. Crown the distant ridge, their shapes simplified into blocks of light. The contrast between dark and bright zones animates the scene. The man, earthbound, solid, anchors the painting against the wide, luminous expanse of the sky. The work reveals the influence of Wyeth's father, N.C. Wyeth, who trained him in the disciplined realism of the Brandywine School. The oil medium allows a rich surface texture and warm tones ranging that the younger Wyeth would later exchange for the dry precision of egg tempera. Yet even here, one sees his emerging voice, a sensitivity to atmosphere, a balance between human presence and landscape, and also just an instinct for storytelling through light. Anna Kerner, the quiet strength beneath the farm. She was the wife of Karl Kuerner, the German-born farmer who became one of Andrew Wyeth's most enduring subjects. They lived on this modest farm just up the hill from the Wyeth family. For more than 50 years, their home and its surroundings became his stage. While Karl embodied the rugged, weathered character of the land, Anna represented its stillness and its order and its quiet endurance. Wyeth was deeply, deeply fascinated by her, by the discipline with which she kept the house, the strength hidden behind her reserve, and the subtle emotional tension between her inner life and the domestic space that she inhabited. She moved through Wyeth's paintings, not as a passive subject, but as a powerful, powerful presence, often depicted alone and absorbed in her own thoughts. Anna and Karl had a relationship marked by distance and habit rather than overt affection. And Wyeth, because he basically lived with them, Wyeth seemed to sense the solitude in her existence. Through her, he explored themes of isolation, containment, emotional endurance, universal aspects, of the human condition, framed through the intimacy, as this one is, in just a single room. This, I love this. This painting, portrait, this is a watercolor, this one right here on paper. It captures her strength. It captures her stoicism with her husband, Karl. And she reveals Wyeth at the height of both of his powers of, once again, as an observer and an interpreter of human character. Look at the lines. And I want y'all to follow the lines of this, okay? Diagonally upward, giving that humble scene a quiet dignity. He was still kind of experimenting with foreshadowing from themes that would really define his career. But this one is just absolutely magnificent. Well, you can't have a discussion of life without talking about Helga. And she just can't. She's not in the exhibit, but I chose to put her in this particular exhibit because I think I think to understand Wyeth, you need to understand his models, and especially one that we're going to look at. She entered Wyeth's life in the 1970s, long after years he had spent painting the Kuerners. And she was born in Germany. She was a nurse who lived near the Kuerner's farm. And she first met Wyeth while she was caring for Karl Kuerner. And she soon became his friend and an artistic subject, okay? What followed was one of the most enigmatic relationships in American art. Between 1971 and 1985, Wyeth painted more than 240 works of Helga, portraits, studies, nudes, without telling anyone, including his wife, Betsy. These painters were collectively known as the Helga pictures, and they revealed an extraordinary collaboration built on trust, mutual respect, and a creative intimacy. Helga was not a professional model. She was a neighbor and a confidant, Wyeth was drawn to her self-possession and her quiet dignity, the same qualities that fascinated him in Carl and Anna Kuerner. But with Helga, his focus shifted from endurance and toil, all right, to this inner life, this of stillness, sensuality, and contemplation. Through her, Wyeth explored themes of solitude, closeness, vulnerability, strength, all rendered through his meticulous technique and restrained emotional tone. Their relationship has long been interpreted in many ways, some seeing romantic secrecy, others pure artistic partnership. Wyeth himself described it as a deeply spiritual and psychological rather than physical. Helga was the other side of me, he says. She gave me what I needed as an artist: silence, patience, and understanding. For Wyeth, Helga became muse and mirror, the embodiment of his inner vision. Now, this particular one, Helga is shown. This is one of his most famous paintings of Helga. It's called Braids. And she's shown in this three-quarter profile, or gaze directed slightly downward, away from the viewer. Her hair is parted in the center, two long braids fall over her shoulders. The medium is egg tempera. The composition is just simple, but boy, is it powerful. The lighting from the left grazes her face and her hair, creating a soft modeling that give her kind of her form solidness. The dark background amplifies the stillness, creating a sense of suspended time. In design and tone, Braids recalls the quiet dignity of Wyeth's earlier portraits of Anna Kuerner, and tone, yet with a crucial difference, where Anna's world is one of domestic labor and stoic endurance. Helga's is inward and timeless. The emotional temperature is shifted from cold realism of work and winter to the warmer light of reflection and thought. The composition's balance is, if you'll look at it, it's a triangular structure, and we'll talk about that more later. It's all triangular, formed by her head and braids. It creates really a visual harmony, visual harmony and emotional calm. Her hair, the painting's title, a visual anchor, becomes a metaphor for the discipline of both artist and model. Every strand in place, the result of care and time and attention. Okay, it's time for you to react a little bit. I'm going to ask you a few questions, because this is, and I'm going to draw your attention to some things. Catherine, if you will, those of you that are brave enough to answer a few questions, it would be good. First of all, I want you to slow down. Just slow down and look at this. This is kind of a little blurred. I wish it could be better, but this is Groundhog Day, and this is one of his most famous paintings. Tell me, if you can tell me what's happening in this scene or not happening. Anybody open mic and just shout it out. Take a look. Joanne, what's happening in this scene?
You see me getting ready to push off.
I see you getting close. Tell me what's going on.
What I see is the viewer is stepping into this scene to do some kind of work in this basin, and you look up before putting your hands in and doing whatever you're going to do, and observe what's going on in front of you outside.
What else? Just describe what you see. Just everything you see, Joanne. Don't try to interpret it. Just tell me what you're looking at.
Well, I see some kind of basin that has a metal tub.
Okay.
and there are implements around to get or put water or hang things in it. Of course, there's a window, and they're a little mismatched because either that or it's open up and exactly matching the mullions on the one above, which seems odd. So it may be missing the glass.
What textures do you see? Any textures?
Yes, I see very rough.
Materials, textures or materials.
Yeah, textures and material, wood, metal. To me, that basin looks like it, or tub looks like it's metal and really scratched and rusty. There's plaster on the walls, glass, smooth, wood on the sliding door. And then, of course, outside it's Groundhog Day. So it's late winter. The plants on earth are brown and crinkly. And it's probably a bit muddy in the yard where the cows are. So, and that the wood around the basin is very weathered. So that's rough also, as the plaster is also quite scratched.
A lot to look at, right?
Oh yeah, this is such a rich.
Very rich. Now, everybody, I want you to answer. I'm going to ask a few questions down. I want everybody to think about some of the questions I'm going to ask you. What kind of mood or feeling does this give you when you look at this?
Melancholy.
Mm-hmm. Great. Does this feel lived in or abandoned? Anybody? Come on, you can answer. Open
Abandoned.
up. Thank you, Janie. Okay. If you could step into this room, if you could step into it, okay, what would you hear, smell, or perhaps fear?
Death.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
What else? Hear, smell, or fear? D, what about you, old artist? See, hear, or feel?
Well, there's a tranquility there, but you get parts of what he does is there's an outside where you anticipate the noise of the cows, their feet moving. So it's not completely still, but then it's kind of, for me, it's kind of a pause. Oh, I've filled this bucket, I've watered the cows. Now let me take a breath. I'm kind of different from the other speakers there.
Well, that's what the art's all about, isn't it? It's what everybody brings to it. Okay, why do you think Wyeth chose this title? Groundhog Day. Why do you think chose it? All right, come on, smart cookies. Okay.
That's not the right answer.
Well, when I was a child, we lived in an area of Northern Virginia that had farms and one of my best friends lived on a cattle farm with silos and all that. And believe me, Groundhog Day is every day when you have cows because you cannot go anywhere without coming back and milking. You have to feed, you have to protect them. It's every day occurrence. So it's not going to be once a year in February.
Cheryl, what about you, hon? Cheryl?
Oh, I was going to say, the name reminds me of the movie where things just are repeated over and over. And this is a routine task they have to do every day, probably multiple times a day. So that's what I get out of it.
Well, and Anna Kuerner's daily work, the cycles of the season, the human need. We all have that human need for renewal and repetition, lots of repetition, right? Wouldn't you say going on repetition? Okay, now let's look at this. How does Wyeth use light and geometry here? How does he use light? Where's the light coming from?
You can,
Catherine?
I see light along the in the sink. Something looks like it's reflecting to me,
Okay.
shimmering.
All right. Okay. What do you think? What's the window's role in this scene? If you will follow your eye, the role of what?
That's one of his features too. These portals. You go from this window to that window to it's always in a future draw. They're kind of portals. And even the big window, it's a way, it's a threshold to the cows who are alive, and you can their skin, their fur. Cows have what would cow skin? It's not fur. What do you call it?
Hide.
Hide.
On a hide.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But
Okay.
it's fuzzy. It has stuff to it. So, but whoops.
Okay, the horizontal lines of the window. I'm gonna mention the lines because he's good at using it. The horizontal lines of the windows. Take a look at those. That creates some kind of order, doesn't it? Would you agree in the picture that that creates some kind of order? The tilted bucket, the running water, that introduces you to some kind of motion, suggesting maybe that life continues. Hey, all of this stuff going on here, all of this toil and everything, but yes, life continues. The cow, look at the cow now that's outside the scene. It in reality, but it also invites you to kind of think about the outside world kind of
Cow.
versus the inside world as well. The domestic versus the pastoral. So if you think of the sink as a stage, perhaps, where that traces work and habit and solitude, and it just plays out daily. Wyeth believed the most ordinary places reveal the deepest truths. Okay. Can you recall a space where quietness or routine required meaning to you, or a scene this reminds you of your own life? Anybody? I'll give you mine. When I stand at the window, I have by my sink, wash dishes, all that labor stuff. I can look out on the backyard, and at certain times of the seasons, things are going on and changing back there. Wyeth once said, I prefer winter and fall. When you think and when you feel the bone structure of the landscape, now think about that. When you feel that's what he said, when you feel the bone structure of the landscape. In Groundhog Day, what do you think we see? The structure of a place or the structure of life? Anybody? What would
Both. Both.
you think both? Anybody else want to jump in? All right. Oh, I love this one. I love this one. Okay. I want you to think, where does your eye go? Now, follow along with me these questions. Where does your eye go first?
To the top of the broom or rake.
Okay. Right here. Okay. What's happening in the scene? What's happening in the scene? Come on, guys. Help me out here. What's going on? Who do you think this is? Describe it. What textures stand out?
Well, it's a woman raking leaves.
It's a woman raking leaves, okay?
Straw. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, straw, pine straw, maybe.
All right, now let's move your fingers here. Let's go over here, right over here. Look at this leaning fence. Look at the dark masses of trees, the pale, the contrasts between what? What are the contrasts showing up between what?
Light and dark.
Yes, light and dark, openness versus enclosure.
Mm-hmm.
Now, What mood does this landscape evoke? When you look at it, what mood does it evoke? When you think just immediately? Does it feel peaceful, lonely, tense, timeless? What season or time of day does it seem to be? What what does this evoke when you look at it?
Work.
Yeah, work, absolutely. It does. Well, Lisa, Lisa, what do you see? What is it? Is it lonely, tense, timeless, peaceful?
I guess it's lonely and maybe it's fall because of the raking, but you don't see any of the colors of fall.
Right. The
So,
colors they're subdued, aren't they? There's ochres, there's greens, they're brown, but all of that is kind of offset by this pale sky here, okay? And the brightness of the hill, right? So
Mhm.
it's kind of creating a tension between light and shadow, effort and rest, perhaps. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, this is a technique. And when you go see this exhibit, I want you to get up as close as you can. Get your nose about before they tell you, step back, please. I want you to get it up because I want you to see this technique up close and personal with watercolor, what he does. Yes.
I see now that I'm looking closer at the picture, you see the color of the flowers down here, and I didn't notice that before.
Yeah. Oh, there's so much going on in this picture.
Yeah.
It's just that, and that is so true. Okay. But when I want you to get up, I want you to get up because when you use watercolor and you use a dry brush, and Dee, you could probably help me with this when I'm going to do a very simple explanation of it. You get that water out of it, then you can paint these tiny little brush strokes. When you get up close to this one and you get up close to, I think it's the one that I showed you, the helmet, and another one of him, and you just peer down, you can see where he painted every single little bitty hair, all of these little things. You don't appreciate it until you get it up. Uh, and this is how the medium mirrors the subject. This is how artists choose different mediums to express subjects and composition. You're getting the Art 101 a lot here today, but I want you to really appreciate this. The drive scrape strokes evoke that rhythm of raking hay, and also the tactile feeling of the land itself. Where are the strongest lines here? Where do you see the strongest lines in this composition? You are Andrew Wyeth. You are looking now and you are observing. Where do you see them? Where's the long lines?
Oh, the wooden posts.
Yes, the wood post,
Mhm.
the fence line. Notice the curve lines here. Why do you think, just why? Why do you think he's kind of, look what he's done to her. He's enclosed her in those lines, but look what he's put behind her. He's put those moving lines behind her. Wyeth once said, I paint my life. Looking at fence line, do you think that he is painting a person or a feeling? Anybody? What do you think?
A feeling.
Feeling.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Feeling?
A feeling.
Yeah.
Do you think he just got up this morning and said, oh, looky there, I see Anna, she's raking leaves. I'm going to paint a picture of Anna raking leaves. I don't think so. There's more going on there, isn't there? Okay. Oh, look at this one. Okay. And that one you will see in the exhibit. Get up and get close, get up and get personal with it. This is Andrew Wyeth's painting called The Hunt. Okay. It's egg temper and it's on a panel. And it's one of the most powerful and quietly powerful and socially resonant works of his career. It portrays Willie Loper, the son of William or Old Bill Loper, one of the earliest models from Wyeth's Chadford Circle. Now, look slowly at this. I want all of you to look at this. Really look. My little Andrew Wyeth out there. Look and observe. don't say it, but I'm going to ask you a few questions and I want you to reflect. Some of you that haven't reflected, please reflect. We'd like to hear from you. Okay. All right. First of all, I want you to look slowly. What do you notice first? You can't just glance at a painting, guys. You got to look at it to really get it. Okay. Come on, because we're looking today. Okay. What do you notice first?
The
How
red,
does-
the red
Yeah.
handkerchief in his pocket and his eye.
Yeah. Okay. Now, how does he position this figure on the landscape? How does he position him?
Up close.
Yep.
Yes, up close. What colors dominate the scene? What are the colors that you see first that dominate the scene? Come on, open
Orange,
up.
orange,
Red.
Yeah, greens.
green.
There's the greens in the field. You see, notice the colors.
In his clothes, there's green.
Yes. Look at his body. What do you notice?
His clothes are torn.
His clothes are torn.
Mhm.
How is he holding that shotgun?
Down. As if he's ready to, head off to.
Yeah, all right. He's
Yeah.
holding it. He's not carrying it loosely though, is he? He's
No,
got a
no.
he's got a
He's
grip
in,
on it.
he's in charge.
Absolutely. He is. Look at his eyes after Catherine said that. What do you see?
Yeah.
How
He's
would you,
serious.
all right, look at the expression on his face. How would you describe the expression on his face?
Intent on
Yes.
doing.
Mm-hmm.
Adults often describe the mood as one of quiet determination
Mhm.
or isolation even. And the russet, the gold, the gray-green capture both the end of the hunting season and the emotional chill of November. The landscape stretches. Look at how that landscape does. Stretches outward, but yet it feels strained, almost heavy, as though the air itself carries memory. How does this feel like a moment of pride, solitude, or quiet confrontation?
Quiet confrontation
Mm-hmm.
for me.
Most viewers that look at this particular painting say that it's a statement of self-possession. The
Mhm.
man stands in
Yeah.
control. He's in control of his space. He's confident.
Mhm.
But he's introspective. He looks directly at you, doesn't he? I mean, pow. Those eyes that you go right there.
I think he looks impatient and he's standing there for that picture and he's ready to go about his business.
I think, and oh, I'm so glad you said that because I'm going to come to that in a minute. Okay. Remember that thought, Yvonne. Okay.
Okay.
He looks directly at the viewer, but he's not defiant in that look, is it?
No.
You wouldn't say it's a defiant look.
No,
Right.
but I think he says, don't mess with me.
Yeah, I'm tired. I want to go about my business.
Yeah, I've got things to do.
I have
Don't
things to do.
mess with me now.
Yeah.
I'm moving on.
Okay. Here's why it's socially important at this time and age. That is a black man. Wyeth has painted a black man up close and personal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's not idolizing him, is he, at all?
No.
He's not diminishing his subject at all. He renders him with empathy, equality, and let me get on with my job, right?
Yep.
Okay. I wish we had time to go on. I'm trying to give you the essence. I want you to really look at these. I don't want you to just go in and blink, like they say. Everybody goes and looks at the Mona Lisa, and they made a study about how long people looked at the Mona Lisa in the Louvre. 3 seconds. Blink, blink, move, blink, blink. I don't want y'all to blink on this, okay? This is the striking work at the Andrew Wyeth Carl. It's a temper on a panel. It's one of his most psychologically charged portraits, bar none in American art. This is it, one of them. It depicts Karl Kuerner, Wyeth's German-born neighbor, close friend, And it is a powerful, powerful thing. Now you saw the first one of the hook, remember? Okay, you saw that one. Now you see him. Okay. What details do you notice first? What's the first thing you notice about this?
That collar and that
Yeah.
helmet.
Red.
Oh, okay, the head.
Red.
Okay, but now here's why. Here's what's so amazing about how he does this. How does he use light? How does he do color? Those of you that did Little Red Riding Hood with me, can you go back to the Little Red Riding Hood video? Okay, how does he use it? What does he use? Remember when we talked about design elements, the use of white in the colors as a grounding? Look at that. Look at the color red, Wingo. I mean, that red is up here and his neck is straight. If you could imitate what he looks like, you know. What kind of mood does this put you in, this painting, when you look at it?
I don't think I'd like him very much.
A lot of people do.
It's a similar light and dark to the woman raking the leaves, where the trees make all the,
Mm.
and the light is behind off in the
Oh,
distance.
hey, Lisa, right. The cool palette of the grays, the whites, and the black, punctured by that red collar, gives the image of emotional restraint, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And tension. Do you feel tension in that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that. Look at how the helmet catches the light. It's protective, but he's also isolated as well. Protected and isolating. Okay. All right. The trees. You mentioned the trees, Lisa. Okay. The trees behind Carl, they form that canopy, almost like a looming shadow, like a memory, maybe of conscience, perhaps, because he killed a lot of Americans.
Well, I was thinking that he's thinking of Nazi Germany.
Oh, God, yes, he was. He stands near the picture plane. He commands attention.
Mm-hmm.
He
Mm-hmm.
commands attention, but yet he's in his own world. Look at the expression on his face as he's looking outward. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we could go on. We could go on about 2 hours with that one, but I won't. You're going to do it. This one. I could not put this one in. This is not a domestic portrait. It's a drama of silence, control, endurance between two people who have spent a life together. The details, look at the details in here. The stance, the gaze, the gun. They transform this quiet farmhouse interior into a meditation on power, habit, and also something else, the invisible weight of years. Carl stands on the left. He's in a bundled heavy coat. His posture is rigid and he's unyielding. A rifle points horizontally across the scene, its barrel aimed at Anna, who stands further back against a pale wall. She's upright. She's composed. She's wearing her little hat because she had these horrible headaches and she wore this little hat all the time. And she has the room is nearly bare. What do you think is happening in this scene or not happening between these two people?
So
There's been a disagreement.
He's paying her no attention.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. No communication. Like
He's just ignoring her and going on with what he wants to do, and she's not happy.
I can imagine her words in her head.
Mm, there may have been words prior to this picture.
Yeah, but look at that face.
Yep.
Yeah. You're leaving me.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Not
I
not
see
feeling
something so different from to me. What I'm seeing is there's something going on outside, a pest, an animal that's getting into something, and he's going to go take care of it. and she's telling him, go take care of it. Because he's all bundled up in this coat. He's headed outside. So, there's a groundhog digging up something, or a raccoon getting into something, and she's irritated, and he's going to handle it now. That's what I see.
And this is the beauty of art. This is what's so wonderful about being in the presence of a great artist that can
Yeah.
invoke different emotions.
Yeah, the problem is
I-
it's just so perfectly done. It's just, you're just amazed at looking at it.
Well, this scene could be this scene from viewers that I've read different reviews on it. It could be threatening, ritualistic, or just simply habitual. Okay. Some see confrontation, some see Carl's dominance and his quiet defiance. Others sense routine, a husband testing his weapon indoors, his wife used to the gesture and standing there unflinching. Wyeth once said, Carl could be frightening, but there was also something magnificent about him, his strength and his discipline. In the Kuerners, the duality is clear. The gun is both an extension and a symbol of Carl's authority. But Anna's unwavering stance carries its own strength, too. She neither flinches nor cowers. The painting becomes a portrait, I think, of endurance and resistance within the confines of habit and history.
Well, but at the same time, I think one of the things he's doing when you talk about the detail, if you look
Right.
at Carl's hair and the fur on his coat, yeah, he's this, power hero guy, but he's soft. There are some parts about him that betray that absolute steel that's in him. And then if you look at Anna, many of her, she talk about a bad hair day. I love that woman to pieces, but her hair kind of, every time I look at it, she's saying, I'm not perfect and I don't need to be, So I think when he uses those details, he's kind of softening, in the same detail, he's softening Carl and he's strengthening Anna.
And when you come to the walk next Tuesday, I will flesh out Anna really well for you. There's whole kinds of stories for this family. But what I'm focusing on getting you to look at the artwork today, but we'll kind of delve into that a little bit more on Tuesday. All right, the next one we've got two more that we're going to look at. This is a simple scene. It's haunting, and it was central to Wyeth's life and art. He returned to it hundreds of times across the decades. As I said, he called the Kuerners' property the eye of the earth. It's the first thing you notice, I'm sure, or I did. I don't know whether y'all do or not, but I noticed the light in the window, and I wonder where the light's coming from. It's this picture is kind of a silent picture to me. The white farmhouse, the side bank, no windows, its walls weathered but solid, the low barn roof, the bare branches, the green slope, unexpectedly bright. That slope is really kind of bright among all of that, the darkness around that, the muted browns and the grays. The feeling that this evokes for me is one of solitude and mystery. But I also am amazed, and I think some of you are looking at it too, is how, and I go back, if you want to look at the Little Red Riding Hood, and I wish you would, before you go, if you really like art, go look at that video about where we, what is the name of that book, Catherine, that we took and we took apart. We'll get it at the end of the thing for you. But anyway, where Mem Fox describes the use of color. And absolutely, this is a textbook analysis of that book. Wyeth's landscapes are never, hear me, Wyeth's landscapes are never places, just places. They're psychological portraits of endurance, perhaps solitude, passage of time. The blank wall may represent privacy, reticence or resilience. The house stands firm. It's scarred, but it's upright, by goodness. It's a visual metaphor for the Kuerners themselves and for Wyeth's own New England stoicism. The contrast between the house's white wall and the dark barn can perhaps echo, strength and fragility, order and decay. That was also a theme throughout Wyeth's work. The painting shows the Kuerner farm not as a postcard view. This is not a postcard view, but it's a living memory, a place that holds stories, seasons, and spirits. Where Wyeth is a genius, my buddies, is that his genius lies in transferring that ordinary into the eternal, really, how we started out. We're going to get to see this one. You're going to get to see this one. I love it. It's Snow Hill. And this is one of his most symbolic and celebratory works of his late career. And I ended with it because hopefully now you're going to know something about this painting yourself, okay? It was painted when Wyeth was in his early 70s, and it serves as a summation, critics say, of his life's artistic journey, especially his long relationship with the Kuerner farm and the people who shaped his vision. The viewers, let's look at the viewers. They're all dancing around the Christmas maypole. Do you know who they are now? Who is this one?
Carl.
Yes. Who's this one?
Anna.
Who's this one?
I don't remember his
The
name.
black man.
Carol's got it. Carol's holding it up. Who's this one?
Helga.
Helga. And this one, these are two. Some people say this is Andrew. And this is a boy that posed for him after his father died on the hill. Okay. This is a group of 6 pictures. They're danced in winter clothing. They're dancing around a maypole. There's long, colorful ribbons extended from the rooftop. There's a small evergreen tree that's fixed at the top, an unusual maypole, snow rather than spring. There's a broad, pale winter landscape with the Kuerner farmhouse right over here, barely visible. There's a horse and a sleigh in the far background. I'm describing what I see now, which is what hopefully you will see. The dancers, they're not imaginary. They're people who populated his art for over 50 years. There's Carl and Anna, his German neighbors. There's Helga, his later model and muse. There's Willie and Bill Loper, early Chadford's figures, and others who appear in countless Tremper-drawings. Each person is shown in motion, celebrating. Yet the scene is dreamlike. It's set in snow, not in spring. The maypole's evergreen stands as a paradox. It symbolizes life, continuity, resurrection, even amid the winter stillness. He says about this, he says that Wyeth's words were later in life were, I think of death as a kind of celebration. You're going home. Well, we have to stop. Okay. As you explore Wyeth at Kuerner's Farm, the eye of the earth, I hope you'll carry with you some of what we've discussed today. Notice how Wyeth used watercolor to capture fleeting moments, the shimmer of light or the chill of wind, and how his temper paintings slow time layer by layer to reveal mood and memory. At the heart of it all is the Kuerner farm, Wyeth's eye of the earth, a place that grounded his art and his spirit. Its hills, barns, and people became mirrors of endurance, solitude, quiet beauty. As you look at those works, as you walk through the gallery and look at those works, take time to see, as Wyeth did, patiently, reverently, aware that every shadow, every patch of light holds a story. and I mean every, in his world. Even the stillest landscape, like this one, is alive and waiting to be felt. Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great
All right.
presentation.
All
Thank you,
right. And I
Angie.
want to encourage you to do something else. We have started a Art at Noon Facebook page. If any of you are on Facebook, I encourage you to journey with me through art, because I am going to put up, after I do the Art at Noon, like the illustration one, I put up reflective things about the paintings themselves, okay, that we studied in the program. I will do so with this one tomorrow. I will put up some questions, something for you to kind of think about, some pictures. But every morning, Kate, our wonderful dean, does a devotion that is broadcasted all over the world. And what I'm doing is every morning taking her devotion that she does and writing a reflection on it and adding a piece of art to go with that reflection. So you will have at your fingertips, if you're like me and you like to have something in the morning and something that evening to kind of slow the day down. This is reflection on in fact, the very first one that I did this morning, I think, let me flip back through these, was a reflection on Kate's devotional this morning.
Right.
Yes, the one in the Jewish cemetery.
Oh.
But sometimes I will pick the same pictures that Paige has done, but the dean has done. But basically what I try to do is to educate all of you on different artists, okay? So I'm trying, and sculptures and music. I will put up one reflection. I put up music to go along with it. Another reflection, I have put up dance to go along with particular um story. So this morning, this was the piece of work that Paige used. I'm thinking about granddaughter, that the dean used this morning, but it was just so reflective of leading into Andrew Wyeth. I could not use it today. So that is a good, and it's also a great source to find out information about at Art at Noon. I am working now on our Boston Art Walk that will be next October, our trip, and it's going to be awesome. And starting in January, I will be doing all of the Art at Noon, like I've done with all the other artworks. All of the Art at Noon will be art from Boston, whether it's in whether it's in the museums, preparing y'all, preparing y'all to look. Okay. Expect on the Art at Noon walk on Tuesday, we're going to talk about art. So come prepared to talk. Okay. We're going to look at those pieces of art. We're going to get up close and we're going to look at those little strands of hair. We're going to look at the fuzz on Kuerner's face and how it reflects. So please join us. I think you'll have a good time.
Great.
Catherine, you got anything else? And we're head to the
Yeah,
house.
yeah, real quick. For anyone who wants to have more looks at Andrew Wyeth.
Wonderful book. Wonderful.
This is the book that the catalog of the Cummer, and we have them for sale in the bookstore. So if you can't make it, you can read about it, and you can also read about it before you go. We also even have the Andrew Wyeth calendar, and I already have it in my office. And it's important to go ahead and get it now because this picture isn't in the calendar, so you can look at it before 2026 starts. All right. The two other things, if you can't make the art walk on Tuesday, there's another wonderful opportunity online for a webinar from the Bishop's Institute on this new book about Eleanor Roosevelt and her religious life. She's going to be, the author will be interviewed by Lucinda Mosher, who is here in Jacksonville, a member of St. Mary's and a interreligious scholar. So that will be, you can go to our website and get the registration link if you would like to be on that, see that webinar. It will be
we'll put it up on the Art at Noon one as well. We'll put it up
yes,
on both.
yes. So there's that. And then the other thing we want to highlight, November 20th, is going to be a Zoom backstory conversation with Jonathan Rich, author of the wonderful book Spires in the Sun. And Sandy, they'll delve into how this great project came about. So that will be wonderful. November 20th. That's also on our website. Two other things to look for next year. In addition to the Boston Art Walk, we're going to do a Savannah Day of Art and Architecture sometime in the spring, and also another Spires in the Sun road trip church visit of some sort. So look for those two things as well. And all of this is on our website and, of course, on Facebook as well with the new Art at Noon site that Sandy has created. So stay tuned and hope to see some of you on Tuesday.
And also for Jonathan's talk, tune in for that one. It's going to be great.
Yes, November 20th. That's going to be on a Thursday at noon.
Okay.
God bless you.
All
Thanks
right.
so much,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Lovely.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.